I think that's like one of God's greatest gifts is a dog. If you have a dog in your life, like you understand a certain kind of love that's just, it's a different type of unconditional love. Like it blew your mind. What's in it?
Dog backwards is God.
Wow. Oh my God.
Never realized that, did you?
No. That's God spelling backwards as dog? Holy
I told you about to blow your mind.
wow. Shit.
Shit. You're gonna be thinking about that one all night.
Dog backwards is God. God backwards is dog.
A coincidence? I think not.
That's going to have me thinking for a minute.
And what are the odds?
Yes, but wow. I think sometimes it's like that, though. Like, we hear things in our head, but then when we hear it from the outside and it becomes that new thought, it's like, whoa. It's so easy to see it that you never saw it that way. Like, going back to the open-mindedness, like something like that, like, wow, that's a really interesting way to see that, like from a different perspective. Like, how many times have you looked at your perspective and it's like, wait, hold on. I'm the only one that has perspective. Like, I am an individual. Like, I'm the only one that does that.
Dude, that God, that dog and God thing I thought of when I was like in 5th grade or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, huh. Because you're like learning how to spell things, you know what I mean? And it's just like, just practicing words and random things and dog. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm dyslexic and I just saw it like that way.
Nah, that's kind of cool, though. Like, think about it, though. I have a Rottweiler, and it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I can make this a segment right now. Like, fucking Frank, man. Like, absolutely. Hold on one second.
Where is he at?
Are you ready for a story?
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you the story about my dog. And, you know, it's funny. This is a story I've never told, so I don't know how it's actually going to, like, come out, like, to some degree. So, bear with me here. So, okay. So, it was December 23rd, 2017. One of my best friends had just passed away from cancer, and it was a couple days before Christmas. And I remember my family and I got together on like the 23rd or whatever. I don't think we could make Christmas happen that day. I forget what happened that year, but we did it earlier and got like everybody together. So we're sitting there, and, you know, Christmas time, you know, I don't know how many people got their own ways of doing things, but, you know, when we sit down, you know, everybody has their gifts. It's like, you know, you don't move. You don't leave the area. You sit there and you enjoy the moment. Like, that's your time with the family. And at this weird particular time, my dad gets up and he's like, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. I don't really think about it too much, but, you know, he just walked away, and everybody's sitting there opening up gifts, and they're saying, don't touch any of your stuff. And there was like 3 or 4 things there that I was like, what the fuck are in these boxes? You know, and then next thing I know, here comes my dad coming back into the room, and there's no cup of coffee. It's this fucking red bow, like one of those red bows you'd see on a car. And he's like holding it in his hand. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then he like gives it to me. And then next thing you know, I almost fucking dropped it because it fucking moved. And I fucking look, I'm like, holy shit. And I'm like, it's a dog. I'm like, you got me a dog? I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And I looked at it, and it was Frank. It was a fucking Frank just sitting there like the size of a hamster. So tiny. And now he's like huge. Still licking himself, as wild as it is. Reggie. So big eye. It's kind of crazy though, because, you know, I sit and look at like what a dog gave me, and that was Dude, it was one of like the greatest life lessons I've ever learned in my life. And I'll be honest, I got him when, I least expected it. Like there was nothing I expected about that night about getting a dog. It was one of those things where I thought we're going to do a couple gifts and, I'm going to go back. I actually had just still cutting customers I still was cutting customers on the late night because it was Christmas week. And here they give me the dog and I was like, oh my God. They gave me some pads and all the gifts that were in front of me that night that I wasn't supposed to open. It was all like bones, pads, stuff for the dog. And the funny part was before they give me the dog, right, they allowed me to open the card. And I swear to God, dude, you ever have like a moment where like something gives you a heart attack? That this was one of those moments. So I'm sitting there, like my girlfriend at the time is sitting there, my mom, my sister, and they give me this card. I look at it, it says, congratulations, you're going to be a father. I thought that they were telling me like my girl was pregnant. And I'm like, oh shit. And then I look at the card and it's like, it's this dog. And I'm like, fuck is going on here? I'll be honest. Like I smoked before I went there. I thought I was just going to chill out for the night. Completely blew my shit. But that was when they brought him out. It's all be responsibility. Kind of taught me like his love is unconditional. You know what I mean? Like that dog is loyal to you. He will do anything for you. And I grown up with dogs my whole life, but never actually had like my dog. He was my dog. And I'm sitting here looking at him, and at the time he could fit in my hands. And he was shitting everywhere, pissing everywhere. And I'm like, this crazy time in my life, it's Christmas week, and like I'm dealing with a dog with a full schedule. It was the most hectic thing I'd ever done in my life. But it kind of taught me like I actually was able to do it. I was freaking out the entire fucking time. Every day, like I had to leave him in his cage because he couldn't stop barking and whining. And I'm like, is it good to keep him in a cage? Is this right? Is this wrong? And I was like, yo, no one told me what to do when you get a fucking dog. Everybody just sees it and it's like, oh my God, let's pet it. And it's like, yo, the dog's shitting everywhere. The fuck do I do? Oh my God. Like, yeah. This dog every night used to shit in his crate all over the wall inside the barber shop, like, because I had it inside my house at the time. And I was like, I had to wake up an hour early every day just because I knew, like, his bladder wasn't good. Like, for a Rottweiler, I found out, like, they don't have, like, really good stomachs. Like, their diets, like, you got to learn about them. But when that got under control, like, it was cool. Like, yo, anybody that ever sees this dog, like, doesn't understand how a Rottweiler is so calm. And like he's been around hundreds of people, like just bred into like understanding that people aren't bad. Like I never wanted to have a guard dog, like a dog that literally just wants to fucking kill you just when it sees you. But it's like these are one of the best breeds of dogs. I love my Rottweilers. He's a homie too. Like he stays close. Like what I mean. He lets me know. Like, and it's crazy like the type of connection you grow with a dog because like they can't talk to you. It's one, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like one of the, yeah, dude. Like you have to really like connect with the dog, and it's like, that was what was crazy in the beginning. Like I had just had a dog in my possession, and this is where I get to people that like, really want to understand it. Like in my mind, I kind of had no choice. Like I always wanted a Rottweiler. I wanted one for so long, but I was waiting until I got my house so I could have a backyard. And I was still renting at the time, and I thought the chick was going to freak out because we already had a pit bull in the house. You know what I mean? She kind of let that slide, but, I knew she was pissed. And, I mean, kind of just worked out. We kind of just made it happen. Me and my boy Mike, like we had the little pit bull, and then we had the Rottweiler. It was one of them situations where, like, we were watching them both grow up at the same time. It was pretty fucking cool. They learned each other. Like Frank was smaller at times. Like the other dog was fucking him up. Like, oh, dude, it was so cool. Like just watching it and like understanding what it's like to see something escalate. Like, it's a completely unpredictable situation when you see two dogs interact. They could love each other or they could want to kill each other. And these are two different types of dogs. This is a Rottweiler and this is a pit bull. You know, and sometimes they were having fun playing, and at other times, like, I see them both showing some teeth, and I'm like, okay, these two could potentially fuck each other up right now. Like, all right, grab them. Like, this, you know, I never wanted to, like, test that limit with these dogs. You know, I think you kind of have to have a responsibility with having pit bulls, Rottweilers, Dobermans, things like that. You have to really understand what kind of dog you have. Because if you do, like, and you can be responsible with that kind of dog, like, they're amazing animals. You know, I know people that can't control their dogs, and, you know, that's just dangerous. You know what I mean? Like, someone that really cannot control, like, a dangerous animal. It's like, you know, these dogs are built for protection, some of them. You know, sometimes they don't understand that, you know, our reality is different than theirs, but, you know, they're of purest of instinct. You know what I'm saying? Like, these motherfuckers really, like, they get shit. You know, they even get, like, the idea of emotion past our logic for things. And I'm just looking at this guy, and I'm like, look at him. Like, he's such a homie. You know what I mean? He's such a homie. You know, doesn't bark. Like, he's real cool, loves to play. Like, and, like, he communicates really well with me, which is one of the things, I'll be honest, it took me a long time for, like, people who can't, like, understand their connection with their dog. Like, you really have to, like, interact with them. You know, like you said, Chase, like, you got to really look inside their eyes. Like they're trying to tell you something. If they're really trying to get your attention, it's like you have to listen. You can't dismiss them. You know, I know when my dog's, like, mad at me, you know, and I think it's an amazing test too, because once I understood, you know, that not to say master a dog, but, you know, taking, like, a beast like this that people say is all aggressive and crazy. And it's like, no, look at him. Like, he's, like, civilized. Like, he's a normal fucking dog. You know what I mean? It's just the stigma they have about this. Like, people abuse these kind of dogs. Like, they know their raw strength and power. So, like, they kind of put it to the test sometimes in their own ways. Like, it's fucked up when people use dogs for that reason. But, you know, aside from that, like, it's like my best friend, dude. Everything.
This is the all.
Oh, yeah, that. Ugh. You know, this dog loves this fucking ball too. Swear to God, like, that should be the sponsorship. This dog has been repping this chucking ball forever. He is a known legend for it. Right, you're all up in the kit. Yeah, I'll tell you what though, it was cool to actually see, like, the social experiment of, like, having a dog, like, play out that way. Like, I really took a lot of time with him. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of the things where he was with me all day, every day for so long. Like, I understand everything about this dog. Sometimes I don't get it when he's being a brat, but, you know, you could understand when things are right or wrong, like if they're massively important. You know, especially his anxiety, but he doesn't have his ball. Right. Dude, he follows it, man. He'll never miss this thing. Like, he moves with it as if he's one with it. His shit.
Listening to
Sometimes, and then other times, and sometimes he's in on it. Sometimes you can kind of predict, and another time he's completely, like, he just follows it. Like, it's pretty cool. Every now and then I'll, like, feel his heart just to see if he's, like, fiending for it or if it's just literally that level of focus sometimes. Because, like, when I look at him, it's really cool where I can see exactly how focused he is on the ball, but extremely calm at the same time. Like, that's like, that was super interesting when I found out that that was a quality of his. Like, I never had that in a dog. Also, I've never had a dog on my own, so I'm kind of the same way. So it's almost like I understand him completely when he's calm. you know. But like when he's pissed off, like I get concerned, man. Like when this dude gets pissed off, I get scared. But shit. If I could, I think I would definitely have like a little Rottweiler farm. Absolutely. Like 100%. Had like
Look at the angle.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. All right, come on. Go, definitely though. A Rottweiler farm. 8 of them. All chilling. That's it. Gold chain. He drops his. Yeah, he dropped it downstairs. It's too heavy. Like he loves wearing. I get pissed off when I take the chain off him, but he'll like randomly drop it in the middle of the yard. He'll just put his head down and drop it, and then he'll just look for it and just. He won't even bring it back. He'll bring the ball back, but he won't bring the chain back. It's on him. Here. Just think too, you know, like the responsibility of having a dog is like the responsibility is pretty big. I don't think people realize like these are living beings. Like these animals right here will die for you. So like to not give them that type of attention, care, love, sometimes I never understood. Like I never wanted a dog if I couldn't give it the same love it was giving me. You know what I mean? That's
Well, I get that's why when I found that dog the other day, I had to like do something. I knew that either I'm gonna keep the dog or I'm gonna find somebody that's gonna want to keep this dog and they can do that and have that bond. You know what I mean?
Did you create a bond with that dog though? Like in those moments?
Kind of. I made sure to keep my distance because I knew I wasn't gonna keep it, and I didn't. It wouldn't have been responsible for me to keep the dog. So, plus I also didn't. It was a street dog. It was in the middle of Kensington, so I didn't want to touch it either. I don't know what it had. So I like kind of like pet its nose a little bit. I got attached as much as you would think, but I didn't want to get too attached where I wanted to keep the dog and make a dumb decision.
When I was in Dominican Republic, there was a lot of street dogs. There was a lot of street dogs in the Dominican Republic. And it's crazy too, because like, you know, you're not supposed to touch them. Like, you know, it's crazy. Like America is like so blessed to have dogs the way they do. You know, out there, those dogs literally are just roaming the streets, really trying to find food. Like they're like instinctual animals at that point. They're not civilized house pets. You know, these are dogs that aren't even that big, but like will bite the shit out of you and like try to hurt you because like that's their instinct. And it's crazy. You know, we're very blessed in this country to have that, you know, like where we care about our animals. And, you know, I think it's an amazing community. You know, people that have animals, that love them, that take care of them, that understand the value that they have in people's lives. Like it's a beautiful thing to have a pet. You know, I'm a dog person, but like to have a pet in general is kind of like a really amazing thing. You know, like you take on a certain responsibility and, you know, you see things grow. And, you know, I'm happy that everybody tells me like I have like a massively behaved Rottweiler. You know, it's cool. You know, I transfer what I needed to into him and he reciprocates it very, very well. You know, being in tune with the animal is definitely the most important thing you should be doing if you have one. You know, I never understood leaving them alone for so long, but I guess people's situations are different. You know, but if I couldn't be with my animal at all times, I mean, think about it, they can't communicate. You know, until they know and you know their routine and like how their mind has grown, you know, you got to be with that animal every day. Like, you know, people kind of just have them and they just, either they don't respond or they're ignorant or whatever it is, you know. But, you know, if you have an animal, you know, love that thing. You know what I mean? Like, love that fucking thing. Yeah, they're such a blessing in this world. Fucking furry.